Robert Phillips. I'm a retired Navy Supply Corps Admiral. This car was built in the spring of 1955. It's a Series II 500 Mondial. It's an improvement on the Series I car. It has a very different motor, more horsepower, larger fuel capacity, and it has a coil spring front suspension instead of the previous year's 5-speed transaxle, all crash. There's no synchro mesh whatsoever. It was raced initially by a Frenchman by the name of Francois Picard, and he shortly turned it over to his friend Gino Munarone from Italy. Munarone raced it in various races in Italy, traded it back to the factory in October of '55, about the same time that the president of Venezuela, President Jimenez, sent a letter to all the major racing manufacturers in Europe offering to pay one-way airfare to his first Grand Prix in Venezuela in Caracas in November of '55. Ferrari sent this used car still painted blue with a Scuderia Ferrari shield on it, which to my knowledge is the only time that a factory team car ran other than red. It did very well at that Grand Prix. It came in first in class with Castellati and Shell driving. It was then sold to Porfirio Rubirosa, who was a famous or infamous, which way you want to look at it. And he raced it at Nassau, won a couple of races, went to Sebring the following spring, took first in class there. And from that time it went to the Midwest in Cincinnati, where one of the local Cincinnati Gang of Five raced it through the year. Had a bad crash at Nassau in '56. It sat till '59 when a traveling toy salesman by the name of Robert Reddy Davis bought the car, raced it in the Midwest. His sales district was transferred to Northern California. So he put it on a flatbed trailer and towed it across in the middle of the winter time to California. In Minnesota, the hood flew off, so we went back, stashed it in the passenger compartment, and stored it in the back corner of a Rambler dealership in downtown Richmond, California, on the East Bay. I was looking for something faster to race than my MGA, so I went in and asked, I understand you have a Ferrari for sale here. And the lady behind the counter, very condescending, said, Sonny, this is a Rambler dealership. We don't deal in Ferraris. So one of the guys said, well, we may be storing one for a guy. So I go back in the shop. In the back corner, here's this forlorn piece of junk. It's covered with mud from that trip across country. It was up on jack stands, no wheels. The hood was still in the passenger compartment. And worst of all, there was this wooden box under the rear of the car filled with these shafts that were blue from overheating and things of that nature. The transaxle had seized in its previous race at Road America in the fall of '59. I started to walk away because I thought, that's not a Ferrari. It looks like a Devon with some sort of V8 in there with no carbs. But I wonder what motor they use. So I picked up a rag from the shop floor, wiped it across the valve cover, Ferrari. I've got to save it. So I went to the bank, got a personal loan for 2/3 of my annual salary, paid $2,225, and spent the next 9 months restoring this car to racing condition. Back then, you know, at age 24 and you want a faster car, and you don't have enough money to pay somebody to fix it, you learn auto mechanics on this Formula One motor. For quite a while after I rebuilt this motor, I was kind of astonished that all cars didn't have dual ignition, dual distributors, 2 coils. That didn't have roller cam followers. That didn't have 3 oil pumps. Dry sump systems were unknown. Hemi-head pistons in 1955 was something that was it yet to come or it just happened? My first race was the Georgetown Coloma Hill Climb up between Sacramento and Reno. I took a first in class, beat the previous year's course record, and my ego that day was untouchable. We brought it to Pebble Beach in 2008, our first time here. We won the first in the competition class of Ferraris, and then on the viewing stand, we received the Enzo Trophy, awarded by Piero Ferrari himself for having the best Ferrari of all the Ferrari classes at Pebble Beach. I was pinching myself saying, I'm going to wake up back in the hotel. This is just a dream. Since that time, the judges, I have 18 of the top Ferrari judges in the world have looked at the car. Can't find anything wrong with it. It's a 100-point car, 6 best of shows, 32 trophies. It's been an incredible time. Best time of all was 54 years after I didn't get to run at Laguna. I was able to put 2 hours in on the track in 2015. That was a glorious day. It worked perfectly. The nut behind the steering wheel didn't do anything stupid.